Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are opening up our medicine cabinets and taking a really close look at a massive, multi-billion-dollar illusion. We're talking about the global supplement industry. We're going to explore the surprising reality hiding behind those little plastic bottles, and we'll be doing it through the eyes of Dr. Motoharu Hojo, a plastic surgeon who specializes in skin regeneration. We're going to strip away the slick marketing, look at how the human body actually responds to these products, and uncover some wild industry pivots that you probably never even knew about. So I want you to think about your daily routine for a second. When you pop a multivitamin, maybe a collagen pill or a fish oil capsule, what exactly do you think you're putting into your body? I mean, because they come in those clinical little bottles and they're sitting right there in the health aisle, our brains just naturally categorize them as medicine, right? We expect them to heal us, fix our skin, maybe even reverse the aging process. But here is the big question. Are they actually functioning as medical treatments? Think about the physical products themselves for a moment. You've got tablets, capsules, powders. Visually, they look perfectly identical to prescription drugs. But the legal and medical reality? It's entirely different. Functionally, supplements are nothing more than food. Officially, they are classified as nutritional supplements or dietary foods. So despite all that fancy clinical-looking packaging, they have absolutely zero pharmacological effect. That means they don't contain any active chemical ingredients designed to actually alter your body's functions, cure you, or treat any disease. Dr. Hojo offers a remarkably blunt assessment of this whole thing. He basically says, look, if you were to hold a prescription drug in one hand and a supplement in the other, they might look exactly the same. But make no mistake, the supplement is just food. It simply does not possess the active pharmaceutical ingredients that make a drug, well, a drug. We all have this deep-seated assumption that supplements sit squarely on the medicine side of the fence, but medically speaking, they are firmly planted on the food side. To truly understand how we should be using these products, Dr. Hojo shared a very relatable, personal story with us. Because, ironically enough, even medical professionals, the people who know exactly how the human body works, still fall victim to the everyday struggles of aging, diet, and unexpected physical setbacks. And that brings us to a major personal crisis he faced recently. So, this crisis started last November. Dr. Hojo had to undergo spinal fusion surgery for a severe lumbar slip. Essentially, his vertebrae had shifted out of place, pinching nerves and making his legs go completely numb. Following that operation, he faced a brutal 6-month recovery period. His doctors were incredibly strict. Absolutely no exercise, no twisting his waist. He couldn't even bathe properly. He was virtually immobile all the way until April, when they finally cleared him for just light exercise. Now, during that long, frustrating stretch of total inactivity, human nature took its course. He wasn't moving at all, but his appetite hadn't changed one bit. So he ended up gaining 3 kilograms. Now, I know 3 kilograms might not sound like a crazy amount of weight, but on his 70-kilogram frame, that was a sudden, stark 5% increase in his total body weight. And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when weight gain crashes headfirst into severe muscle atrophy. The physical toll was just shocking for him. Before the surgery, his chest circumference was right around 100 centimeters. But just from sheer inactivity, it shrank down to about 96 or 97 centimeters. His muscle mass had essentially melted away, replaced entirely by new soft fat tissue. He actually noted that while the scale only showed a 3-kilogram bump, physically and texturally it felt like a 6-kilogram gain because his body volume had just puffed up with fat. Facing this rough post-surgery reality, he reached out to a trainer, and the trainer gave him a hard truth. All that light aerobic exercise he was cleared for, it would only burn about 200 calories a day. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the equivalent of eating a single rice ball. So the real battle was going to happen in the kitchen. He needed a strict, heavily calculated strategy to get back to his baseline weight while navigating a very real, temporary nutritional gap. So here was the master recovery plan. First, cut those 200 daily calories. Second, stick to an incredibly strict and frankly super monotonous diet of just chicken breast and cabbage. This was going to give him the 70 to 80 grams of lean protein he desperately needed to rebuild that lost muscle without packing on any more fat. But as you can imagine, eating nothing but plain chicken and leafy greens every single day is a pretty miserable experience. And that is exactly why step 3 became necessary, taking a temporary multivitamin. The absolute most crucial point here is why he took that multivitamin. Eating literally nothing but chicken breast and cabbage morning, noon, and night basically guarantees a severe vitamin deficiency. The solution he reached for wasn't some high-end magic anti-aging pill. It was a cheap 300 yen multivitamin. He used it as a purely utilitarian short-term patch. He just needed to make sure he didn't suffer from malnutrition or crash his blood sugar while he was surviving this extreme temporary diet phase. And this brings us right to the core thesis of this entire explainer. Supplements are temporary tools. They are not permanent fixes. Dr. Hojo makes it crystal clear that he has absolutely zero intention of taking that multivitamin for the rest of his life. The second his weight is back down and his normal eating habits return, those pills go straight in the trash. We really have to stop taking supplements endlessly, expecting these miraculous permanent results like eternally beautiful skin. Doing that is fundamentally misunderstanding what these products are actually designed to do. So if supplements are really just these temporary food patches, why on earth are they marketed as life-changing miracles? Well, to answer that, Dr. Hojo peels back the curtain on one of the most famous supplements in the entire world, Coenzyme Q10. You've definitely heard of it, right? It's marketed everywhere as the ultimate anti-aging cellular energy booster. Well, the backstage story of how it actually got that specific reputation is genuinely explosive. The modern supplement market makes a whole lot more sense when you look at the wild history of CoQ10. Originally, it was an approved prescription drug used for treating heart failure. It had a pretty mild effect, but doctors prescribed it all the time, and it was fully covered by national health insurance. Because of this massive, guaranteed, taxpayer-funded demand, a major company went out and built these huge factories to produce it on a global scale. But then, things shifted. The medical community reviewed the data and decided, you know what, this drug just isn't effective enough to justify using all this tax money. So the government suddenly cut its insurance coverage. Virtually overnight, this massive company was stuck with huge factories and literal mountains of inventory, and suddenly no buyers. So what was their solution? They simply rebranded it. They completely changed its classification from a medical drug to a nutritional supplement. Now, Dr. Hojo offers a remarkably pragmatic perspective on this massive pivot. He says, look, this is just pure commercialism. He doesn't view this as some malicious, evil conspiracy. It's like if a country can't sell oil to one market, they just go find another one. The company had a multi-million-dollar asset that was completely dead in the water as a medical drug, so they just found a new avenue to sell it. As a business move to survive, it's completely valid. But as consumers, we have to recognize that the sudden boom in CoQ10 as this anti-aging miracle wasn't driven by some incredible new medical breakthrough. It was driven by the urgent, brazen need to clear out warehouse inventory. So armed with all this medical and industry knowledge, how should we actually be navigating our own aging care? Well, here are the golden rules. First, prioritize real food and lean proteins, period. Second, treat supplements strictly as emergency nutritional patches, just like bridging a gap during a strict diet. Third, never rely on them for endless, magical anti-aging effects. And finally, always understand the commercial motives behind the product you're buying. Let's put this into immediate practice by looking at a huge trend right now: collagen drinks. Whenever you search for anti-aging solutions, these things pop up everywhere. But medically speaking, they are largely ineffective. Honestly, if you want protein and collagen, you are vastly better off just eating real chicken breast rather than paying a huge premium for a liquid supplement. On the flip side, basic multivitamins definitely do have utility, but again, only if your regular dietary intake is temporarily restricted. Just don't buy into the marketing hype that drinking collagen is going to instantly reconstruct your skin. Which leaves us with one final vital question I want you to ask yourself the very next time you open up your medicine cabinet. Are you taking that supplement because you have a genuine, temporary nutritional gap that actually needs patching? Or have you bought into a carefully crafted illusion designed just to keep a factory running? You know, knowledge really is power, and knowing the difference between the two is the ultimate tool for your own health. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning what you consume.